Welcome to the 70th anniversary night here at Merrittville Speedway, brought to you by CAA and Auto Effects Graphics and Signs. Tonight we celebrate nostalgia and history as we induct history makers at Merrittville Speedway to our CAA Wall of Fame. Let's begin first by recognizing a couple of our alumni families who have been with us since opening day, July 1st, 1952. We'd like to honor and celebrate Eddie Giroux, who celebrated his 99th birthday, as well as co-owner of the track, former co-owner of the track, Ken Cavanaugh, from 1955 to 1971, who will be celebrating his 90th birthday this October. Now let's begin with our first inductee from the CAA Dedication to Racing Award, Chris Long. For the CAA Dedication Racing Award, Chris Long of RCM Racing Equipment is tonight's honoree. Following Merrittville Speedway Kart Club's 25th anniversary season recently, longtime Tuesday night racing supporter and RCM Racing Equipment celebrated the same milestone in 2020. Owner Chris Long's involvement in the sport began when he crewed for his uncle Randy Hollingshead back in the Bomber days. 10 years later, the team would become RC Motorsports with his uncles Randy and Rick Hollingshead, Roy Cannell, and Ron McGarry joining Chris. Chris would join the business side of the sport in 1990, selling parts for VES Motorsports and Dan Sobczak. In 1995, that business would become RCM Racing Equipment. Today, RCM Racing Equipment serves kart, mini sprint, and mod light racers coast to coast, in addition to other series on both dirt and asphalt. Along with my uncle Randy, I've been involved with Paul Klager's racing, and that includes karts, mod lights, Jeff May's. Thank you. Jeff May, as well as in addition to many kart grads who compete in the mod lights now, said Long himself, a former 1990s kart racer. I've got to thank all the racers' support over the last 25 years, thanked Long. To my wife Kathy and son Carter, Al Moffat, Paul Klager, and Dan Wilder, I couldn't have done it without any of y'all. On behalf of both of our Tuesday and Saturday night racers, thank you from the Reunion Committee for all you have done for the sport. Congratulations on your 25th anniversary and the CAA Niagara Dedication to Racing Award. Chris, would you like to say a few words to the race fans and the community?
Yeah, I really got to thank everybody over the years. We couldn't be where we are today without obviously, you mentioned with Al Moffat, Paul Klager, and there's many others. Walt Breeding, he was a big part of our Mod Light program, and we lost him, learned lots from him. There's so many people to thank, and it's really cool to be honored with this award. Like, I'm very humbled, really. Never expected it. You always see, other recipients, and you really don't realize how long you've been involved with it, and I guess we're one of those guys now, being, at least 25 years doing this and well before that. So, but thanks to everybody, all my customers, everything that's brought us to this point. It's been fantastic.
Congratulations, Chris. Up next will be Tim Bredman of Auto Effects Graphics and Signs. Auto Effects Graphics and Signs, big round of applause for Tim. Auto Effects Graphics and Signs in Niagara's vehicle wrap and sign specialist. While servicing the needs of the business community since 1989, owner Tim Bredman has shared his talents in creating some of the best-looking race cars through each of the Bobcat of Hamilton Weekly Racing Series divisions from both Saturday and Tuesday nights. He says, I was working for a Toronto stripping and graphics company, said Bredman of St. Catharines. I thought it was something I could do in Niagara, and that was more than 30 years ago. The company started with working out of his van at dealerships and body shops while using his parents' garage to cut vinyl and do prep work. Today, Auto Effects boasts a 5,000 square foot facility that can accommodate a 53-foot tractor trailer, dump trucks, and other large vehicles. My dad, Bob, raced a late model at Merrittville for one season in 1962, added Bredman. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him race, but growing up, we did come to the races from start. We have worked with so many racers on their race cars, and I would have liked to say 750 in total. I've also had the pleasure of working with many of Merrittville's owners on creating their pace vehicles and signage needs. When Auto Effects first began operations, computers and computer-operated equipment was just coming into the industry. Applications in the early years required designing with layers of solid color vinyl with special effects added with spray paint and airbrushing. Today, almost everything is printed from decals and signs to full-color wraps. Like so many over the years, Bredman is a second-generation racer who's come into his own as a dirt racer himself with a twist. Rehabbing an ankle injury more than 10 years ago led to taking up mountain biking as a hobby, with riding leading to getting involved with several events, as well as recently the Tour of Pelham, which uses Merrittville Speedway's parking lot. The Energy Cycling Club and Auto Effects was heavily involved in helping with the bike giveaways as well. Bredman has become actively involved in local trail maintenance and repair and is the sport lead for the upcoming mountain bike portion of the 2022 Canada Summer Games. Back in track with the business, Auto Effects' of involvement in racing has also taken the company to the Montreal Formula One race and the Petit Le Mans event in Atlanta as part of the new Beetle Cup when the popular model was relaunched, lettering V-dubs for celebrity events. I'd like to thank everyone that we've worked with over the years, from racers to business leaders, said Bredman. My wife Cindy, my kids Jake and Nicole have been the biggest supporters, and I owe so much to the employees over the years, especially Jason Cowan and Matt Scott. Leading up to Merrittville's 70th anniversary celebration, Merrittville owner Don Speece began talking about the idea of a wall wrap for the new banquet facility adjacent to Honker's Turn 1 bar behind the Turn 1 grandstands. We wanted to do something that tells the story of how Merrittville has evolved from the first season to where it is today, from the owners to the competitors to the race teams to the staff and to the fans. If you haven't already, you owe it to yourselves to go and check out the incredible display of photos, whether you are a longtime fan or relatively new to the sport. Quite an impressive tribute created by Auto Effects Graphics and Signs and your reunion committee, as is the design of the inductees each year of the CAA Niagara Wall of Fame. On behalf of Merrittville Speedway's reunion committee, racers and race fans, sincerest thanks and appreciation for all that Auto Effects Graphics has done for the local racing community, and congratulations, Tim Bredman, on joining the CAA Niagara Wall of Fame. We got a fan question down here. Tim, I think you designed the sign here. Do you have any words you want to say before we do all the photos?
I just want to thank everybody. I mean, we're totally surprised about something like this. I mean, there's so many great racers and people that are deserving to do, to be up there, you know, before myself. And, you know, I feel, you know, it's a great accomplishment and whatnot, and it's awesome. Thank you very much.
Great job, Tim. Thank you for all you've done for Merrittville. Up next will be Gary Morash in the number 124, Gary's Interest. Yeah, give it up for Gary Morash. Gary's interest in stock car racing led to his involvement in crewing for 4 years for John Lowe, but his friendships with Glenn Baker led them to fielding a Bomber Division late model number 124 from 1986 to 1988. In 1989, they moved up to Pro Stock, winning 2 division championships in 1992 and 93. They campaigned one of the first Camaro-bodied Pro Stocks with the help of John Fletcher, but by 1995, the team was ready for a new challenge, Sportsman. With a crew that consisted of Glenn Baker, Sean Major, Phil Butcher, John Pierce, and Dave Darby, the number 124 won Rookie of the Year at Merrittville, and then while amassing feature wins, went on to represent Merrittville Speedway in the Super Dirt Series from 1998 to 2001. Along his career path, Gary Morash and his team amassed 2 area track championships, 47 feature wins, 1997 Sportsmanship Award, and Driver of the Year in 2000 in the Sportsman Division. None of this would have been possible over his 19-year career without the help of his family, friends, crews, and sponsors like Martin Muffler, Rebel Gaspar, and Welland. On behalf of the Merrittville Speedway Alumni Reunion Committee, we now ask Glenn Baker and Gary Morash, lifelong friends, to come up together, and they will be inducted together into our CAA-sponsored Wall of Fame. Glenn Baker is up next, the Bomber, as many know him here at Merrittville. For many of us who are involved in the sport of stock car racing today can probably remember the first time we attended the races and who you were with. In Glenn Baker's case, it dates back to 1967, Canada's centennial, when Merrittville Speedway was in its 14th season and young Glenn was 5 years old. His father, Arthur, introduced Glenn to his first night of racing, watching the likes of Hurst, Bigelow, Van Dyke in Sportsman, and Webster, Sittler and Sheridan in late model, and the O'Hara's Deagle brothers in mini stock. Attending the races at Merrittville was always a treat for young Glenn and his older brother Pete. They both caught the racing bug in the early 1970s, racing a B-modified six-cylinder number 22. He found soon thereafter that driving wasn't for him and concentrated on the mechanical side. Unfortunately, Pete died at a young age in 1977. However, Glenn, now in his teens, decided to learn more about cars and engines and built his first race car alongside his cousin Conrad Baker and friend Lenny Kowison. The street stock bomber class was a new class of racing at Merrittville and Humberstone, started by track owners Stan Friesen and Kurt Ewell. Much like the V6 classes today, it was for the new entrants in full-bodied race cars that could be raced inexpensively. Conrad and Glenn shared driving duties and finished 10th in points in 1979. By 1980, Conrad and Glenn decided to field their own cars when Glenn driving the original number 22 at both Merrittville and Humberstone. What seemed easy in 1977 became much more difficult in 1980 until fellow racer Gary Saunders, himself a top competitor in that division, mentored Glenn and helped him for 2 seasons with guidance. By the 3rd season, he received a call from Guy McKee, who guided Glenn. With his knowledge of both engines and setup, Glenn said Guy was the big brother figure he missed and needed. Guy McKee would be in the pits with Glenn every race night, turning wrenches and racing and talking for hours. Glenn would put the number 22, his brother's number, in victory lane at Merrittville in the 1983, scoring his first win. The next season in 1984 was labeled as Glenn's breakout year, winning 8 features at Merrittville to secure his first Bomber Division championship. Then, in the same year, Humberstone as well. 1984 would go down as his best year, totaling 15 feature wins and 2 championships and finishing second at Ransomville. Glenn, to this day, will credit a lot of his success to Guy McKee, who shared and guided a young 22-year-old racer from Ridgeway with his knowledge about racing and life in general. Another young racer, Steve Davos, who in 1983 started pitting beside Glenn, and even though they were tough competitors on the track, helped each other in the pits and would go on to become best friends. Glenn shared the knowledge he had learned with Steve and would also become successful at Merrittville, winning his championship in 1987. For 1985, Glenn moved up a class to the open-wheel limited sportsman, but he always enjoyed the full-fendered cars, and besides, racing was not and still isn't a cheap sport, especially racing 3 nights at 3 tracks per week. Finally, in 1988, Glenn secured his championship at Ransomville while continuing at Merrittville and Humberstone, finishing second in points at both of these tracks with 8 feature wins. Not a bad way to finish your driving career, but Glenn would only step back and not away. Glenn got involved with another friend who wanted to drive, Gary Morash. Glenn would take all the knowledge he learned through the years from Gary Sanders and Guy McKee and started building cars for his friend. Through the connection, Glenn would meet Shannon, his future wife, and once Glenn retired from racing in 2001, it was only to become a spectator. Whether it was dirt or asphalt, Merrittville or the Indy 500, they were there. Glenn and Shannon are here with us on their favorite race night at Merrittville, reunion night, where they normally visit with friends and fellow racers like many of us, reflect on their racing past. They enjoy the present racing, and that includes our 62nd anniversary of the Jerry Winger Memorial tonight. Before we let you sit back and become a spectator, it's our distinct pleasure to induct Glenn the Bomber Baker to our CAA-sponsored Wall of Fame for 2021. And last but not least, we have Pete Bicknell, Mr. Small Block. Over the years, there has been very much written and documented about the career and success of a racing driver, Pete Bicknell. However, for some of our younger fans, like myself, we thought it might be important to trace some of the steps that led to the success you see today. Peter and brother Arthur lived with their parents, Eric and Edna, on Louth Street in the Western Hill area of St. Catharines. Eric, who was an excellent carpenter and all-around handyman, seemed to instill his work ethic and inventiveness and attention to detail to his boys. On occasion, he would take in the stock car races here at Merrittville in the 1950s. From what I understand, Eric and Edna seemed to instill the need for education, and while Arthur would become an actuary, Peter seemed to have the same ability as his father for inventiveness and tinkering and doing the job right. For Peter, instead of carpentry, it became shop class in automotive at West Park High School. Prior to that, there was an interest in go-karting, and young Peter would take his kart down to the dirt canal roads near GM and race around on makeshift tracks. By the time Peter was 11, 12 years old, he was taking go-karting very seriously. Peter traveled to race at their track in Batavia, New York, where he was winning races in no time. During 1967, Arthur and Peter lost their dad, Eric, and along with mom, Edna, regrouped and carried on. The boys attended high school, getting an education, and by 1972 and 73, Peter and classmate Danny Rizzardo were given the green light by their shop teacher to build their late model stock car using a 1957 Chevrolet with parts from the wrecking yards, as was common back in the day. Pete, now 18 years old, completed the car but lacked a number. The prior go-kart numbers, number 12 and 22, were all taken at the 3 area tracks, but number 42 wasn't. So a blue number 42 was painted on a bright orange race car, and it was off to Merrittville and Ransomville under baptism by fire and a steep learning curve, but it was Ed Potashnik, the crew chief and mechanic for Terry St. Amand, that would visit the boys and direct them on which wrenches to turn where to get the car working on the dirt ovals. By the end of the 1973 season, Pete Bicknell had scored his first win with the number 42. The number 42 late model was rebodied and raced another season or two, but by 1975, Peter, now a licensed mechanic, was outgrowing his home garage and started Pete's Mobile Service. Taking his mechanical skills to the customer, the business grew, and the sport of stock cars and how they were built was changing. The Western Hill area was a hotbed for local stock car drivers and builders, and Peter saw a need providing a repair and parts service for weekly racers. This is when he purchased Al Holpe's garage on 3rd Street, Louth in St. Catharines. From 1975, Pete was experimenting with chassis building, at first for his car owner, John Cosby from Vineland, Texaco, and then for a couple of other competitors. As the racing increased and the fabrication of parts, wheels, and chassis increased, working on customer street cars came to an end, and especially when the gas pumps were taken out. During the late 70s, Nancy entered the picture. She remembers being taken on their first date to the races. Nancy grew up in rural Fenwick, and while Merrittville Speedway was close by, it was the farthest thing from her mind. By 1980, Peter and Nancy were married and immediately started a family. First Erica, followed by Darlene, and then Kristen. This was a very busy time. Peter was busy with the parts and chassis business and racing his 42 modified, gaining both experience and success, growing both the chassis and parts business to pay the bills. Peter, according to brother Art, had the same work ethic as their father Eric. By 1980, John Cosby retired as Pete's race car owner, so brother Art stepped in, even though he worked in Toronto during the week and came home for the weekends. Art has been the car owner of the number 42 for 41 years and continues to support his brother's efforts to this day. What a lot of people don't know is Peter had a mentor, and during his mid-1970s to 1980s run, Davey Moore, the 5-time Merrittville track champion, was the racer that Pete wanted to beat. He watched and studied and absorbed how Davey seemed to master Merrittville's tricky D-shaped oval, especially in turn 3 and 4. It didn't take long before Pete took his home-built chassis with a small block engine and started winning features, and finally took home his first Merrittville championship in 1984. As the years started to pass by, Peter and Nancy were growing both the business and their family, but along the way there were many who became valued friends and employees of Pete's Automotive and Bicknell Racing Products. None more than a young Randy Williamson that met Pete and Nancy while hitchhiking to and from Merrittville in the early years. Randy and Pete became integral to the chassis and parts development, and Randy crew chief Pete's number 42. Pete's Automotive, Bicknell Racing Products, and McCreary tire businesses were all being managed under one roof, but as the business grew, there was a need for more space, so the family business was moved to its present location on Cushman Road in St. Catharines. The original shop on 3rd Low still exists as Haner's today, owned by father and son team Harvey Sr. and Harvey Jr., also championship modified racers at Merrittville with the 2H. For many Saturday night competitors, racing was a hobby, but for Pete and Nancy, it was their livelihood. The key to their success as a family business was linked directly to Pete's success on the track, and from 1984 and 1990, they had attained 7 consecutive championships in modified at Merrittville alone. No easy feat. Fast forward to 2003, Peter was on his way to his induction ceremony at the Canadian Motorsports Wall of Fame when he let his family and crew know he and Nancy were now going to be the co-owners of Merrittville Speedway alongside Tracy and Randy Williamson. Peter's career accomplishments are plenty. Some highlights include Driver of the Decade in the 1980s, Driver of the Year in 1984, St. Catharines Sportsman of the Year in 1984, St. Catharines Sports Hall of Fame in 1996, winning the Syracuse Fall Race in 1988 and all 3 modified area track championships, Merrittville, Ransomville, and Humberstone. Winning the last July 4th Big Block race at Syracuse in 2002 and the Small Block race 5 times in October. Named Mr. Dirt 358 3 times, Northeast Dirt Modified Hall of Fame, and most recently to 4 score over 400 plus modified features and over 48 modified area track championships, with 24 of them here at Merrittville, racing in the U.S., Canada, and Australia. When Pete was informed about tonight's Wall of Fame induction, he laughed and replied, "You guys are trying to retire me." Just the opposite, Peter. We understand your passion and dedication to our sport and your loyalty to Merrittville Speedway as your racing home for nearly 50 years. You've instilled your passion to all that work alongside you, and we thank you for making the sport that all of us here tonight love better. We know that when you put that helmet on, you still have the same desire to win as when you first strapped into that number 42 late model that 2 students at West Park High built way back in 1973. The Bicknell and Williamsons, like the families that owned Merrittville before you, from the Marino Cullens to the Kavanaughs and Russells, Friesens, Yules, straight through to Brian Irvin, and you have now placed Merrittville in good hands with Don and Lorraine Speece. Peter and Nancy have done the same with the racing business you founded, partnering with Randy and Tracy Williamson, Bob Slack in 2007, and most recently with the next generation with Tim Jones and Erica Bicknell Jones. On behalf of the Merrittville Speedway Reunion Committee, sponsored by CAA Niagara, welcome to the Wall of Fame at your home track in its 70th season. Thank you, Mr. Smallblock, Pete Bicknell.
Okay, I guess we want to get racing, but listen, 70 years, think about all the owners, all the racers, and all the fans. But this would not be possible without the fans. So let's hear it for the fan base at Merrittville. So Don and Lorraine, as mayor of the city of Thorold, on behalf of City Council and our proud community, it is my honor today to congratulate Merrittville Speedway as you celebrate your 7th season. Presented with sincere appreciation for your commitment to the citizens of Thorold and our community, with best wishes for your continued success, August 21st, 2021, and many more. And I also want to mention one other thing. To do this and come through the COVID pandemic and reinvent yourself and do what you've done to expand the business model, let's hear it That's just tremendous, and it's tremendous to see the fans back in the stands. Thank you, Don.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Congratulations again to the Species. Thank you for all that you do to make weekly racing happen here at Merrittville Speedway. And speaking of weekly racing, I believe we got some race cars that need to get onto the racetrack very shortly. We got to catch up with Mayor Junkin as well. You want to take the mic here? You want to make a little speech?
Yes. Just like Terry just did, welcome everybody here. It was a great night. Every time I visit this raceway, I'm thinking it's not that far from Pelham, a couple of boundary adjustments, and all of a sudden you guys are in Pelham instead of Thorold. Anyway, good luck everybody. Thanks for coming out.
Nostalgia Night, celebrating 70 years, 2021. And the Nostalgia Modifieds are coming out of 4, straight down to grab the green. 28B, that's Conrad Baker out of Ridgeway, Ontario. Leads him around, and a couple of guys get discombobulated up there in 1 and 2. Beals will lead him around. Chased by the 601 of Jeff Larman out of Thorold, Ontario. These guys can boot scoot around here. They might be a little old in appearance, but they can put her down. 28B, 21B, pardon me, Conrad Baker, or was that the 28B, sorry. 28G, I beg your pardon, Greg Hale out of Napanee, Ontario, in the 42 Ford, continues to lead the way. Jeff Siglich out of North Augusta, Ontario, in the 58 Fury, some pressure on the outside. They go storming into 3.
'21 to the lead. That's Jeff Siglich. Great looking ride. Now, I know a lot of these may have maybe modern chassis, but I love seeing these vintage body styles up here, Eric. And we got a battle for second on the way as here comes the 37.
That's Matt Barber out of Brockville, Ontario, the 2009 Big Nell 48 Chevrolet sheet metal. Putting on a great performance here.
Working lap 4. Coming down the back straightaway. Got about a 3-car breakaway at the front of the field as the white flag starts to wave on this field. Battles on for 4th place as the 2 and the 601 trying to go back and forth. In the 601, Jeff Larman out of Thorold, Ontario. Got that beautiful red and white coupe out once again and trying to take over 4th. As we see the checkers coming around this time, it'll be Jeff Siglich in the 21 who wins it.
Good job by Siglich to pick up the win in the very first heat. Nice to have these nostalgia cars out here. Here comes the 61 of Dwayne Van Alstyne, reminding us all of Ivan Little's number 61 coupe. His machines were also showpieces, coupe bodied or gremlin body, didn't really matter.
Let's take a look at how they're going to line up for this one. On pole is going to be the 64 of Don Lassard out of Fort Erie, Ontario. Alongside will be the 19 of Megan Siglich. Then in the 07, it's Mark Shadwell. In the starting 4th in the 9, that's Andy Imbo. Starting 5th in the 21B, that's Conrad Baker out of Ridgeway, Ontario. In the 28K, or excuse me, the 20K, that's Rick St. Pierre. And then in the 51, Bill Profoda will start 7th, and rounding out the field in this one, that'll be the 61 of Dwayne Van Alstyne.
Don Lassard in the 64 out of Fort Erie. Front row on the inside, heat number 2 for the Dirt Modified Nostalgia Tour. Nostalgia Night at Merrittville Speedway. This is the iron you used to watch back in the 50s and the 60s into the 70s. Green flag is up, breaking formation. Don Lassard out of Fort Erie hangs into the lead there with the 07 Mark Shadwell out of Hamilton, providing some pressure and taking over the lead as they power into 3 and 4.
Shadwell comes away with the lead down the front stretch in that 07, that gunmetal gray, beautiful car. And here comes Andy Imbo. Andy Imbo, that 9, always fast when the vintage cars make an appearance here at Merrittville Speedway. It looks like he's dialed in once again as he's starting to work over that 07 as they go into 3 and 4.
Andy Imbo, a regular runner around these parts, especially in the sportsman ranks at the Humberstone Speedway. Nice to see him back out here. Swings it around high on the outside in that blue number 9. But out front, the 07 of Mark Shadwell of Hamilton. And that gorgeous, probably I'm going to guess, maybe a 35 Chevy Coupe. I don't know. Just a good guess on my part. Maybe. We'll see what happens.
Halfway this time to the 20 of Rick St. Pierre has taken over second position from Imbo. And we got a battle for the 4th spot as it looks like the 21B was making a challenge. Baker looked to the inside briefly of that 64 of Lassard, but couldn't get the pass done as Imbo goes a little wide up off of 4, and he'll drop a spot to Lassard.
4 laps gone. 2 more to go in this second qualifying heat for the Dirt Modified Nostalgia Tour. Mark Shadwell in the 07 continues to lead the way. Rick St. Pierre out of Welland in that 2000 TO chassis Nostalgia Modified. Distance back about 2.5, 3 car lengths as they make their way down the back straightaway.
For the final time into 3 and 4, Shadwell has the 20 of St. Pierre closing on him, but he's not going to get there. It's going to be Shadwell in the 07. Mark Shadwell out of Hamilton will take the win in heat number 2. Good run for St. Pierre as well. Great show early from the vintage class here. Up next will be our mini stocks, the Glow and Go Tanning 4-cylinders making their way out on the racetrack. Annie Worster out of Niagara Falls, Ontario in the 44 will start on pole alongside of Courtney Kokerick in the 3K. Starting third will be Richard Hadler out of Thorold, Ontario in the 60, alongside of Nick Erskine from Brantford, Ontario in the 64. Starting fifth, Ken Hare out of Fawn Hill, Ontario in the 5K. Then it's Don Deagle in the 12. Anthony Kelly will be starting 7th out of Niagara Falls, Ontario in the 10 Junior. Actually, that's the 12 Junior tonight. And rounding out the field of this one, Brian Obey in the 5 from Hamilton, Ontario.
Interesting, Jonathan, that they've taken some of the 4-cylinder trucks that have been running around these parts for the last long while and have seated them into the 4-cylinder or the 4-banger field. That's kind of neat to see. You see cars and trucks out there all in one group, and that's kind of a wise decision to make when you're trying to keep the car counts pretty healthy. 44, Danny Worcester, looking for that green flag from starter Tom Beals. And we are underway in heat number 1 for the 4-bangers.
Kokerick with a great start from the outside of row number 1. Going to try to go to the lead in that 3K as they beat and bang behind them. I believe Worcester may have made a little bit of contact with the leader, Kokerick, but she is away and down the front straightaway as they're 3 wide for second.
Courtney Kokerick, long line of Kokericks in this division, at least at racetracks in the Hoosier Stock division for a long, long time. So nice to see that family continuing with this tradition. Courtney's got some company in the 5K of Ken Hare as they battle their way into turn 3.
Hare.
Side by side in turn number 4, Jonathan.
Hare on the bottom side, Kokerick up stairs, and that's going to be Kenny Hare who comes through. Kenny Hare, just about a month ago, was having a wild ride on his lid early in a heat race. Now he's got a feature win under his belt, and he's trying to look for more, stretching his lead out by a couple car lengths as they work down into 3 and 4.
Here in 3 and 4, straighten it out, come on down the front straightaway. We're going to go halfway in the second qualifying heat for the 4-cylinders. Here out front in the 5, Kokerick in the 3, hanging on to second, but she's got a lot of company with Dan Deagle trying to grab that position away, and they're going to go side by side in turn 3.
Anthony Kelly in the 12 Junior tonight. He takes over second from Kokerick. Worcester all over the back bumper, and then they're maybe 3 wide as they're thinking about it going down into turn 1. Obey trying to make a move to the inside. Erskine is there in the middle. Great battling from about 3rd place on back. Meanwhile, Kelly's starting to try to run down our leader, Kenny Hare.
Kenny Hare will see the white flag. One more circuit as the clods of mud are flying in 3 and 4. They got some navigation down here in the moat. They're in the moat with a couple of automobiles. They get it straightened out, and we stay green.
Down the back straightaway for the final time. Here comes Kenny Hare. Checkers are in the air. It's Hare, Kelly, Obey. Battles on for 4th between Deagle and Worcester. Checkers in the air. Kenny Hare will wrap up heat number 1 in the Glow and Go Tanning 4-cylinders over the 12 Junior of Kelly, Obey. Worcester will take 4th, and Deagle hangs on for 5th.
Put a lot of water and a lot of moisture on this racetrack. It has been hot. It has been dry. but the track appears to be in excellent condition. Well, let's get the rundown for the next heat here, Jonathan.
Heat number 2 in the glow and go tanning 4 cylinders. Jay Moulton out of Niagara Falls, Ontario will start on pole alongside of Fabio Oliveri out of Ancaster in the 16. Starting third, Hannah Rothwell from Welland, Ontario in the 19, alongside of Rob Shaw from St. Catharines, Ontario in the 519. On the inside of row number 3, Trevor DeBoer out of Hagersville, Ontario in the 31. Then it's Dylan Lord from Thorold, Ontario in the 13D truck. Rounding out the field, Chris Lasky from Welland, Ontario in the 61. Looks like Rothwell has stopped under the pace lap here, and that's going to delay us here. Hannah Rothwell going to get a little bit of help from the CAA of Niagara tow trucks, and we'll get back to racing here shortly.
6 laps to come. Second qualifying stanza for the 4 cylinders.
Going to be coming to green this time with Moulton and Oliveri, 2 of the heavy hitters here in the 4 cylinders on the front row. The car I'm going to be, well, truck rather, that I'm keeping an eye on. That's going to be Dylan Lord in the 13D, starting on the back row. Shotgun on the field. We'll see what he's got as we come to green. Moulton and Oliveri bring him in for a slow start, and Moulton gets away with a jump down into turn 1.
Moulton will lead him away, but he's got some pressure on the outside as we get down to the middle of the back straightaway. Oliveri in that orange and white machine will take over the lead as they find themselves in 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway, and he will lead the first circuit.
Oliveri in the Kubota number 16 out in front by a couple car lengths. Moulton trying to close the gap as they work down the back straightaway. Trevor DeBoer sitting in comfortably in third, and here comes Dylan Lord. He's trying to make a challenge for third place. To the outside, Lord can't pull even with DeBoer. Oliveri continues to lead him.
Fabio Oliveri, car 16, turn 1. Leads the field down, starting to stretch that lead out just a little bit, 3-4 car lengths. To the 16 or the 10 of Moulton, trying to make sure he can't stretch it out too far as we're going to go halfway with the cross flags in this qualifying round for the 4 cylinders.
Lord upstairs trying to take over third from DeBoer. Battle for third place down the back straightaway. Lord edging ahead in that 13D race truck, trying to find a way around DeBoer. Oliveri still paces the field out front, and Moulton rides comfortably about 4 car lengths back. But here comes Dylan Lord to third.
Dylan Lord making it good for the third place position. But Oliveri out front, not really seriously challenged as we're getting down to the last couple of pages here of the second qualifying round for the 4 cylinders. As a matter of fact, there's the white flag right now. Getting ready to conclude this. And Oliveri hasn't had a whole lot of pressure in this second qualifying round, Jonathan.
Oliveri looking strong once again here tonight. Oliveri coasts into 3 and 4, no pressure behind. Lord trying to make a challenge at second. He's not going to get there. DeBoer's to the inside. Checkers are in the air. It's Fabio Oliveri who will wrap up the win in heat number 2 over Jay Moulton, Dylan Lord, Trevor DeBoer, and the 61 of Lasky will round out your top 5. Thanks, Hare Thomas. Heat number 3, Ray Sorrenzi out of Port Colborne, Ontario will start on pole in that 71C. And then it's Tyler LaFontaine in the 96T starting alongside. Starting third, Jordan Denobriga from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 7. Then it's John Lubick of Port Colborne, Ontario as well, starting 4th. Starting 5th, that's Austin Worstro in the 71W from Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario. Kyle Rothwell, the man everybody tries to beat on a Saturday night, will start 6th. And Sam Iftani from Welland, Ontario in the 38S rounds out the field of 7 cars for this one.
7 cars lining up third and final qualifying round for the 4 cylinders. Beals will turn them loose. And the 96T of Tyler LaFantazzi will lead him in to turn number 1, and already pulling out to a sizable lead as they make their way down the D-shaped backstretch.
Another car who's had a great start. Look at Kyle Rothwell, shot out of a cannon, already down the back straightaway. He's up to third and looking for more, trying to follow right in the tire tracks of John Lubeck. Tyler LaFontaine still in control of this one in the 96T.
LaFantazzi's 96 sticking perfectly in 1 and 2, and then down the back straightaway, lengthening that lead. And now we've got ourselves just about a side-by-side battle for second and third as they make their way into 4.
Kyle Rothwell trying to fire off turn 4 and look to the inside of the 14 of John Lubeck. Can't do it this time. John Lubeck up on the outside, holds it tight. LaFontaine down the back straightaway, still continues to lead as Rothwell tries to set up Lubeck into 3 and 4.
Tyler LaFontaine. Are we going to go? Yes, we will. We'll cross him. We're halfway through this qualifying stanza for the 4 cylinders. And so far, it's been a milk run for the 96 of Tyler LaFontaine. And this battle is back on for second and third.
Down into 3 and 4. Here comes Kyle Rothwell trying to clear. Maybe a slide job from John Lubeck as he gets back even with the 114. 14 versus 114 down into turn 1.
LaFontaine hangs onto it. He's got a little mayhem going on his back porch here. But he has been in command of this thing from the very first corner in the very first lap. We've got a white flag displayed one more time around. That lead has shrunk just a little bit as they make their way into the starter stand into turn 1. Tyler LaFontaine, the 96T, in control, but he's got some hot company in behind him.
Here comes the TMR Racing teammate. It's Kyle Rothwell all over the back of the 96T. He cuts to the inside out of 4. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Tyler LaFontaine is going to hang on to it, though, in the 96T over Kyle Rothwell, John Lubeck, Jordan Denobriga, and Austin Worstro will round out the field in this one. Let's have a look at how they're going to line up for heat number 1. Nathan Peaty will go on pole out of Ridgeway, Ontario in the 23N. Then it's John Babian in the 62 from Port Colborne, Ontario. Curtis Friesen will start third in the 68. Then it's Terry Smith from Niagara Falls, Ontario in the 22. Justin Sharp out of St. Catharines, Ontario in the 8S will start 5th. Starting 6th, Billy Bleach Jr. from Port Robinson, Ontario in the 108. Recently picked up his first feature win here at Merrittville. Cody Mcpherson in the 7 will start 7th, and rounding out the field of 8 cars for heat number 1 will be Cameron Lane in the 24C.
The Friesen family, the Yule family co-owned this track and Ransomville in the 70s into the 80s. They're on the Wall of Fame. They've got Curtis, another young member of that racing family, out here to do battle as the sportsmen are ready to rock in their first qualifying round.
Down into turn 1, Petey's away with the lead cleanly. Curtis Friesen trying to make a challenge on the inside for second as here comes Billy Bleach Jr. shot out of a cannon. He'll try to take over 4th from Justin Sharp. Great side-by-side action early in this one.
Curtis Friesen trying to find some room to move up there in between automobiles. He's boxed in a little bit as they swing the back ends loose in turns 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway.
Into 3 and 4. Here comes John Babian in second. He's trying to find a way to catch Nathan Peaty, but he's got a fast Blue Moon Potatoes 8S of Justin Sharp all over the tailpipe. And here comes the 7 of McPherson as well into the battle.
Nathan Peaty stretching out that lead just a little bit over John Babian as they make their way into turn 4 and down under the starter's gantry once more. Lap 3 in the first qualifying stanza for the Rick's Delivery Sportsman Division here at Merrittville on Nostalgia Night.
Side by side for third place. Here comes McPherson as we see halfway at the line this time. McPherson will take away third. Smith and Bleach doing battle for about 5th place on the racetrack.
Babian, if he has got anything, trying to reel in the 23 of Petey. But that is a very, very fast sportsman automobile. And we've got a spin and a problem up here in between turns 3 and 4, Jonathan.
Yeah, I had my eye on that battle as Billy Bleach Jr. and Justin Sharp. I'm not sure what happened to Sharp. He was starting to fall off the pace a little bit. And then as he entered on the high side of 3 and 4, Bleach just ran over the backside of him and spun him around, and we are back under yellow. Well, under yellow for the first time in the Sportsman here tonight.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about track conditions. You can see there is some heavy clay up there, so no doubt that contributed to the car getting its ends swapped up there, plus the contact that you mentioned. So the yellow remains out. It's the way it's supposed to work. We are green, green, green.
Petey brings him in real slow in that 23N. Reminder, they can fire anywhere between the score clock and that orange cone. He waited right till the very end to fire it, and it's kind of worked out for him as he's gapped the field by about a car length into 3 and 4.
Got the tires to cool down a little bit, so he starts to stretch that lead out as they make their way out of 4, and we've got 2 more laps to go. The rocket ears, or the popsicle sticks, if you will, in the air. And Petey has looked very, very stout in this qualifying round. That 7 of Cody Mcpherson, never too far from the front. Battling now with Beatty right on his tail as we're coming down to 1 more lap to go, Jonathan.
Final time around. Does Cody Mcpherson have enough to make the pass? representing the Willard family on the side of that race car here tonight with the trucking and concrete business. He'll go to the lead into 3 and 4 for the final time through 3 and 4. This is Cody Mcpherson in the 7, who will win heat number 1 in the Rick's Delivery Sportsman over Nathan Peaty, John Babion, and I believe the 108 of Bleach rallies to 4th and beats Terry Smith at the line for that 4th spot. Noah Mamo scheduled to go on pole in this one out of Ridgeway, Ontario in the 3N, and then it's Jason Van Mill in the 1. Rob Knapp will start 3rd in the 2K. Starting 4th will be Daryl Faraway in the 53. Starting 5th, David Flanagan in that 74. Then it's Brad Rouse out of 40 Ontario in the 18R. Ryan Ferry and Brandon Gruel will round out the field of 8 cars for this one.
Green flag will turn them loose. Heat number 2 for the Rick's Delivery Sportsman. Lots of contact in the back end of this one. They finally get themselves sorted out. And the 3N of Noah Mano will lead this parade out of turn 4.
Mamo away with the lead over Van Mill, Knapp and Rouse doing battle. And I believe that contact that we saw was actually the 74 of Flanagan, who clipped the inside barrier, judging by the left front tire. You can see it as he goes down the back straightaway. A little bit of white on the side of that one.
Think you're right.
Here comes Mamo away with the lead again.
Mamo with Jason Van Mill in the 1, giving chase. They get bottled up back there, almost 3 wide for their 4th and 5th. With a heck of a battle with a 53 squirting out there, Darren Faraway. These guys not holding anything back here in this qualifying round for the Sportsman.
Rouse goes to the inside, trying to make a move on Faraway, who's now actually battling for 2nd with Van Mill. Daryl Faraway representing the Posner Metals ride on the side of that 53. He'll take 2nd spot from Van Mill, who gets caught up in that clay. They're halfway as they go underneath the Tim Hortons finish line.
And they're starting to build up a really nice cushion up here in 1 and also in 3 and 4. Maybe a little bit brittle down here in 1. We'll keep our eyes on that. But Mamo in the 3 in that gray, white, and black machine leans it way over as they come out of 4 to grab another lap here. 4 on the counter.
Top 4 single file. The battle's on for 5th between Knapp and Ferry, but Farrell back at the front. That's Daryl Faraway trying to reel in the 3N, and now up on the high side. He points it down the hill, and he'll be all over the back of Mamo as they come to 2 to go.
2 to go. This is going to be a heck of a finish. Faraway up on the high side, down on the low side. Can he get Mamo here and grab the lead? He can as they get in turn 3 and 4. A tremendous qualifying heat for the Rick's Delivery Sportsman Division has come down. 1 more lap to go. The white flag in the air, Jonathan.
White flag for Daryl Faraway. Brad Rouse lurking there. He's going to try to take 2nd from Mamo as they work down the back straightaway. Mamo shuts the door down into 3 and 4 for the final time. Top 3 cars all together in this one, but coming to the checkers, it's going to be Daryl Faraway in the 53 who gets it over Noah Mamo, Brad Rouse, Jason Van Mill, and Ryan Ferry rounding out your top 5. This is how they line up for heat number 3. It's Dan McKay in the 13M on pole. Then it's Jay Mallory in the 20. Starting 3rd will be Adam Leslie out of Port Colborne, Ontario in the 15. Starting 4th, that's Luke Carlton out of Port Colborne, Ontario in the 96B. Starting 5th, Dave Mamo from Ridgeway, Ontario in the 3 Mamo. Starting 6th, James Friesen from Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario in the 72 Bobcat Hamilton machine. And starting 7th, Brent Bigelow in the 16, and Caleb Taylor in the 77C rounds out the field of 8 cars for this one.
Bigelow, Friesen, another couple of big names marking the history of Merrittville Speedway's 70 years of competition. Fine looking field of modifieds coming down, looking for that green flag. And the 20 of Mallory will shoot out there and lead him around the back straightaway. Luke Carlton, the 96, looking for 2nd place. Fighting there with the 13 of Dan McKay, the 13M. Here they come, completing lap number 1 down to the stripe, Jonathan.
4 wide down the front stretch. That's not going to work. Leslie smartly backs out and saves the battle for a little later, as he was 4 wide with Friesen, Carlton, and McKay. You don't see that often here at Merrittville.
I was just going to say, you rarely see 4 wide, especially down the front straightaway. They were able to get through that with not anybody getting any damage. Mallory in the 20. There's another long-standing racing name at this facility. Continues to lead proceedings. We've got 2 laps on the counter.
Down into 3 and 4. Mallory sends it through the middle of the corner. Carries a lot of speed, but Friesen is also there. That lead is down to less than a car length as they work into 1 and 2. Luke Carlton in the 96 lurks there. Leslie is there in 4th, and McKay runs 5th. Into 3 and 4, up on the high side. Here comes JMF, trying to make a challenge for the lead.
Mallory hangs on to it. Another long-standing name in these parts, the Bigelow. Brent Bigelow in the Semiluxe Esso, sponsored number 16. The Bigelow name synonymous with racing here at Merrittville over the 70 years of competition. Mallory continuing to battle and hang on to the lead as he slings it down low as they come down to collect another lap.
Friesen all over the backside of the Mallory 20 as they work down into 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway, Friesen sticking the nose there, trying to show Mallory he's there. Into 3 and 4. Can't get alongside this time as Mallory still controls it. 2 laps to go.
James Michael Friesen. His uncle, a star in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and Dirt Modifieds, especially in the big block ranks, carrying that Friesen name proudly. Trying to chase down Mallory. 1 more lap to go. He's going to have to get on the horse here with the whip if he's going to catch him, because Mallory's got himself a very fast sportsman.
Top 4 under a blanket, but they're all chasing Jay Mallory for the final time into 3 and 4. Does Friesen have enough to make the pass? He points it down the inside. Can't get alongside. Jay Mallory's going to hang on to it over Friesen. Carlton, Leslie, and Bigelow, your top 5 in heat number 3.
Another good heat. Didn't win by maybe a couple of yards there at the stripe.
Ready for the S&W Service Center 358 Modifieds. Don't forget, a little later tonight, we're going to be handing out the Jerry Winger Memorial. 50 laps for the Modifieds here tonight. And let's have a look at how they line up for heat number 1 in this one. It's Chad Chevalier out of Port Colborne, Ontario in the 12 on pole. Then it's Shane Pierce out of Waynfleet, Ontario, normally in the 88, but you might see a 124 on the side of that race car.
I think he's got both, doesn't he?
He got a little bit of both tonight. Mike Bowman, last week's feature winner in the 71 from St. Catharines, Ontario, starts 3rd. Then it's Darren Peters out of Fort Erie, Ontario in the 1P. Fast Freddie Carlton's in the 96 starting 5th. Gary Lindberg alongside in the 37S, and Tanner Podwinski in the 72. Shotgun on the field in this one as green flag waves on the 358 Modifieds.
Chevalier in the number 12 leads him around. Bowman won his first feature of the season last week at Merrittville. Let's see if he can make it 2. Looking pretty quick down there on the low side as they battle for second place. Coming out of turn number 4, it's the 12 of Chad Chevalier leading the way.
Abby Chevy pacing the field in this one. Bowman is through to 2nd now as Pierce drops back a spot, and he'll come under fire from Gary Lindberg. Here comes Gary Lindberg into 3 and 4. Down on the bottom side of Pierce. They battle side by side as Mike Bowman briefly looks for the lead.
Fred Carlton back there. He won his first feature in 9 years a couple of weeks ago. Trying to move up between automobiles, but it's Bowman up front here battling currently from 2nd place, and Chevalier in the 12 hanging on to that top spot. We've got 3 laps on the counter.
Gary Lindberg through to 3rd as he clears the Pierce ride. We'll see what Gary Lindberg has in store for our top 2. Heavy Chevy still out in front of this one. It's Chad Chevalier. But here comes Gary Lindberg going to the top side early in this one. To the top side where Gary Lindberg likes to work out of 3 and 4.
Lindberg has had a fair amount of success in feature wins at this track and a few others as well. A very, very hard charger. There's another synonymous name with the history of this racetrack and a few others. Chevalier, Bowman, and Lindberg, 1, 2, and 3. Some of the best small block riders in this area. 1, 2, and 3. Carlton gets a little off axis out there in turn number 2 as they make their way around 3 and 4, 5 on the counter.
2 laps to go. Carlton dead sideways. He drops out of the battle. It's a 3-car battle at the front. Chad Chevalier will lead him down the back straightaway. Mike Bowman shuts the door on Gary Lindberg down into 3 and 4. Here comes Bowman to try to make a challenge to the lead. Nothing doing down low. White flag in the air.
Chevalier, Bowman, Lindberg, fast Freddie Carlton, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Holding nothing back in the heats. These guys are just letting it go. Feature to come, the Jerry Winger 50-lap memorial to end the night. And this is a little precursor of that. Checkered flag coming on down. The 12 of Chad Chevalier Bowman and the 37 of Gary Lindberg. A good heat for the modified division.
Fame inductee tonight, Pete Bicknell on pole in the 42. Mr. Small Block will lead him to green. He is alongside of Trevor Wright out of Beamsville, Ontario in the 09. Starting third will be Austin Wood in the 1XP, alongside of Glenn Stiers in the 0 out of Ohsweken, Ontario. Starting 5th, Matt Williamson out of St. Catharines in that 6 S&W Service Center modified. Todd Gordon will start 6th, and Boyd McTavish in the 41 rounds out a field of 7 cars in this one.
Mighty Matt Williamson, the number 6, the feature winner last night at the Ransomville Speedway. I think his 5th of the season at the Big R. So this is a heavy-duty deal. Pete Bicknell on the Wall of Fame, 24-time track champion at Merrittville, will lead him on down under the green flag of Rick Beals.
Into 1 and 2. Here comes Pete Bicknell away with the lead early, but Trevor Wright right there in the tire tracks, as well as Austin Wood, who challenges for second now. He goes to the inside of that 0-9. They work underneath the Tim Hortons finish line, and Pete Bicknell will lead them.
Wood family right in the fray as they normally are. This is Austin Wood in that 1X, trying to chase down master car builder Pete Bicknell in that nostalgia orange 42 as he leads them around to grab another lap here. The second qualifying round for the 358 modified division to set up. Look at Wood underneath, challenging Bicknell door to door. Peter squirts it out now. Matt Williamson challenging on the outside. You can throw a blanket over the top three, Jonathan.
Down the front straightaway, here they come, E.T. It's Bicknell out front, Wood and Matt Williamson lurking there on the high side. He's trying to figure out that top line early tonight in this one. 3 cars work down into 1 and 2. Austin Wood is going to try to make a challenge. Bicknell cuts him off. They're going to be side by side coming to the stripe.
The master and the youngster side by side. Matt Williamson on the outside trying to make that high line work as they battle down the back straightaway. Bicknell side by side with Wood. This is a heck of a fight. 4 laps on the counter, coming down to click off another.
Matt Williamson has entered this battle. It's a 3-car battle into 1. Williamson winds it up on the outside. Pete Bicknell, Mr. Smallblock, in his traditional low line here at Merrittville. Austin Wood kind of falling back as they work through 3 and 4, and here comes Matt Williamson to the lead down the front stretch.
Matt Williamson swinging around the outside. Danny Johnson takes away the lead, but Bicknell's not going to give up that easy, trying to battle back. But Williamson's got the point as they make it around. 6 on the counter, looking for the white flag, and there it is from Tom Beals. One more time around for Mighty Matt, former Mr. Dirt champion, looking to grab another feature win at Merrittville if he can in the Jerry Winger Memorial. Bring him home, Jonathan Howell.
At a 3 and 4 for the final time. Here comes Matt Williamson. He'll collect another win here at Merrittville. It's heat number 2 for the 358 modifieds. He'll wrap it up over Pete Bicknell, Austin Wood. Trevor Wright brings it home 4th, and Todd Gordon rounds out your top 5.
Lineup of the 3rd qualifying round for the modifieds. Here's Jonathan.
Scott Wood will go on pole out of Thorold, Ontario in the 38. Tom Neal in the 2X will line up alongside. Ryan Susie, good to see Susie back at the racetrack here tonight in the 38 RS. Dylan Davidson from St. Catharines, Ontario in the 73 starts 4th. Tyler Willard from St. Catharines will start 5th in that 777. And then it's Derek Van Mill out of Welland, Ontario in the 2 Cool.
Ryan Susie, a multiple feature winner over at the Ransomville Speedway. Nice to see him here at Merrittville on Nostalgia Night. 3rd qualifying round for the 358 small block modifieds. Looking for that green flag, and away we go. Scott Wood in that 38. You saw his son in the heat previous to this will lead him down the back straightaway, but he's got some company as they make their way in 3 and 4. Wood goes to the high side. That may cost him, but no. He's going to drop it down and hang on to this lead as they click off the first lap.
All season long, almost nobody has ran that high line better than Scott Wood. I say almost because Gary Lindbergh has beat him upstairs a couple times this year, but early in this one, Scott Wood showing that there's grip and there's speed up on the high side. He'll lead him once again over Ryan Susie, Willard, and Davidson.
Susie having a look, trying that middle line down the back straightaway, but Scott Wood, who's won his fair share of features over the years at Merrittville Speedway, in turn 4, picks up that left front wheel as he makes his way into the starter stand. We got 3 laps expired.
Scott Wood in the Henderson's Pharmacy 38 out front on a Saturday night cruise early in this one. He's gapped Susie by a couple car lengths, then it's a few more car lengths back to Willard. Halfway this time as Scott Wood looks dialed in early in this one.
Willard hanging on to 3rd, and they're freight trained out. Willard gets way up on the cushion in turn number 1, lost a little bit of forward momentum, but he'll hang on to 3rd place. They're really strung out here in the freight train. 4 laps on the counter, and Scott Wood continues to lead. Ryan Susie 2nd, and Willard in that 777 hanging on to the show spot.
As the modifieds continue to work here, you can see multiple drivers starting to creep up the racetrack a little higher and higher each time. Popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go for Scott Wood. Another one of the masters of high line right now, working the middle groove through 1 and 2. And down the back stretch, he's almost got a full straightaway advantage over Ryan Susie.
Bit of a milk run here for Scott Wood. White flag comes out one more time around And he's got that 38 Henderson Pharmacy machine hooked up. Not seriously challenged at all. Ryan Susie, the Ransomville regular, second. Maybe a little pressure from Willard, but coming on down to grab it. Here's Jonathan Howe to give you the finish.
Scott Wood will take the checkers out of 4. And the battle for second. Susie will hang on over Willard. Davidson wraps it up 4th. And rounding out your top 5, that's the Too Cool of Derek Van Mill tonight.
A guy like this, who relies on his truck for work, knows that his truck will take care of him if he takes care of his truck. And WeatherTech has always been the ultimate protection. From floor liners to no-drill mud flaps to Techliner for your truck bed to bump step to the handy under-seat storage system. And Cup Phone keeps phones secure in any cup holder. Order your ultimate protection today at WeatherTech.ca.
There are a lot of things in this world that are fake. Your food shouldn't be one of them. Pinty's Man Cave Chicken Wings. Authentic food for real people. Crave the cave, friends. Pinty's Man Cave.
I'm told to watch these two guys on the front row. Shadwell in the 07 and the 21 of Jeff Siglich. That's a 2011 Pete Bicknell chassis. 15 laps for the Dirt Modified Nostalgia Tour. Really enjoyed these guys. I know you have too. It's nice to see this niche of the dirt track racing world under some kind of control and a common rule book. It's very, very nice to see, and fantastic to see all this old iron. This is the stuff we used to watch back in the, well, into the 50s, into the 60s, and even into the 70s. A big part of our history. 07, Mark Shadwell out of Hamilton will lead him on down. Looking for that green flag from Tom Beals. And we light the fuse, and we're off and operating. There we've got a problem right down in the front. The 21 got into trouble. Siglich into that inside guardrail right off the front.
Jeff Siglich down into 3 and 4. He's dropped a couple spots as another car gets a little low there. That's going to allow the 21 to get back 5 to 3rd, maybe, as he battles with the 37 of Matt Barber.
Meanwhile, up at the front, the Shadwell 07, showing the stoutness in the qualifying heat and just carrying that momentum on down through. Rick St. Pierre on that 20, hanging on to the second place location. And then the 37 of Matt Barber out of Brockville, Ontario, and that 48 Chevy sheet metal automobile. That's 1, 2, and 3, as we've got 2 laps out of a total of 15.
That 07 still showing the way. I believe that is an old Turner body. That 07. Out in front, Mark Shadwell from Hamilton in the coupe body. Starting to feel a little bit of pressure as here comes the 20 of Rick St. Pierre down the backstretch into 3 and 4. St. Pierre all over the backside of the Shadwell 07 as they come down the front stretch.
Shadwell sticking to that middle groove of the racetrack. These guys do not want to venture up near the cushion and that loose stuff that can really get bogged down up there. Now we've got the 20 machine of St. Pierre challenging for the lead here with the number 07 of Shadwell, starting to fade just a little bit. Side-by-side battle across the stripe. These guys letting it all hang out here.
Great looking ride for the St. Pierre 20K. Still trying to hang on to that lead as here comes the 07, and the 37's back in to mixing it up, as well as Barber making it a 3-car battle as wow, they are awfully tight coming out of 4.
Awfully tight coming out of 4. But St. Pierre in that 20 continues to lead the way. It's not going to be long before he's going to be into some back markers here. Continues to lead the way. We got a total of 15 to run. We've got 6 on the counter as the lead pack comes around 3 and 4. St. Pierre in the 20 and the 07 of Shadwell 1 and 2, and then the 37 of Matt Barber 1, 2, and 3. It's a tight battle. I wouldn't give this to any of those 3 at this particular point. 7 laps gone out of a total of 15.
Lap traffic could start to be a factor here in this one. Look at Shadwell trying to find a way around St. Pierre up there as well. They're going to negotiate lap traffic, but the top 4 are all under a blanket as they work into 1 and 2.
Tight battling going on down the back straightaway. Making their way into turn 3 is Old Man Moon Orange, the Blue Moon as they call it, making a rise up there on the horizon between 3 and 4. Saint-Pierre got Shadwell right on the back door. The Barber 37 in there as well, hanging tight. Tight battling as they make their way down the back straightaway. Saint-Pierre in the 20. Shadwell in the 07. Barber in the 37. And joining the fray, the 21 of Jeff Siglich, who got in trouble early in the run here. 10 laps gone, 5 more to go. And it's still anybody's ball game up here. Saint-Pierre in the 20 continues to lead the way, but he's got some lap traffic back here. The 95 machine trying to stay out of the way. That's Mike Ward of Niagara Falls in that coupe trying to stay down low because the lead trio are coming, and they're coming hard. They split the difference to go around Ward high and low. Shadwell may have gotten the worst of that exchange as they swing coming out of 4.
I believe it was St. Pierre that may have got a piece of that 95, but everybody stays straight. We stay clean and green as the battle rages on at the front. It's Barber and St. Pierre battling for that lead. And the 07 of Shadwell lurks there as well, and Siglich in the 21. Great racing from the vintage as we see popsicle sticks in the air. 2 more laps to go.
Just 2 more. Can Barber hang on? Swinging it high in turns 1 and 2 down the back straightaway. Shadwell in the 07. All of a sudden, you got the 21 sticking his nose in there. Siglich to make this interesting for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th as they're hub to hub and banging as they come out of 4 with a white flag in the air.
Nobody told these guys it was an exhibition. They are battling hard, door to door, wheel to wheel. Lots of trouble, but out in the front, that's the 37 in control of this one. Matt Barber from Brockville, Ontario. We'll see the checkers and will take the win in the Vintage Series.
Young fan with a checkered flag up there. That's a thrill for him. Terrific display. Yeah, you're right, Jonathan. I mean, this was supposed to be a demonstration of the Dirt Modified Nostalgia Tour, but man, they held nothing back at all. We saw some pretty darn good battling out there. And the win will go to Matt Barber out of Brockville, Ontario. That's a 2009 Bicknell chassis with a 1948 Chevy coupe body on that machine. So nice to see the Nostalgia Tour doing so well.
Matt, come around here. Tell us about that drive at the end, because there was a great 4-car battle for an exhibition race. You guys put on a great show.
Yeah, I'm really like happy about how this turned out. That was, I don't even have words. That was fantastic. I honestly thought it was going to be a bottom track. I found something on the top, and I just made it work.
Who do you want to thank for the drive here tonight?
Of course, my dad and my mom for always helping me out. My girlfriend Megan, who was the number 19 in that race, she's always been a really big help for me out here, and I'm speechless.
Great job. We're going to have you draw the 50 winner in just a moment. We'll take your photos first.
Do battle next on Nostalgia Night here at Merrittville Speedway, celebrating 70 years of operation. Canada's oldest and longest operating dirt track. Thank you for your patronage, your loyalty. You're all part of that history. He's still getting strapped in down there. Once he's cleared the way, we'll roll the 4 cylinders. Matt Barber, 37, finally departs the scene. The Merrittville Hot Rod is still there. I think we're going to... Here's the lineup. You got one there. I got it. Okay. Full complement of 4 cylinders, some trucks in there as well, so we better let Jonathan Howe rifle through the introduction. That might be right there.
You Pick Auto Parts pace car out in front going around Don Speece's coupe out of the front. I believe that's being driven by Rick Cavanaugh tonight from the Merrittville Memories Committee. Let's have a look at the Glow and Go Tanning 4 cylinders lineup. Danny Worcester out of Niagara Falls, Ontario on pole in this one in the 44 alongside of Jay Moulton in the 10. Courtney Kokerick in the 3K will start third. Starting 4th, Fabio Oliveri in the 16. Starting 5th, Tyler Lafontaine in the 96T. Starting 6th, that's Jordan Denabriga from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 7. Starting 7th, Rob Shaw out of St. Catharines, Ontario in the 519. Then it's John Lubeck in the 14L. Starting 9th, Ken Hare out of Fonthill, Ontario in the 5K. Starting 10th, Trevor DeBoer from Hagersville, Ontario in the 31. Then it's Austin Worstrow starting 11th in the 71W. Don Deagle is in the 12. He will start 12th. Dylan Lord in the 13D starts 13th. Starting 14th in the 114, Kyle Rothwell out of Welland, Ontario. Starting 15th, Anthony Kelly in the 12 Junior. Starting 16th, Chris Lasky in the 61. Starting 17th, Sam Iftani in the 38S. Starting 18th, Brian Obey in the 5. Starting 19th, Richard Hadler in the 60. Starting 20th, Ray Sorenzi in the 71C. Nick Erskine's in the 64, starting 21st. And rounding out the field, Hannah Rothwell. Not sure if she's going to make the show after some mechanical problems in the heat.
Nicely done. You did that all out of breath. Nice job. 21 automobiles, trucks, and cars. Melissa Stevens is your race director, ready to rock and roll with the 4 cylinders. Part of nostalgia night here at Merrittville Speedway. Gene Moulton in the 10 will take off and lead him around into turn number 1. Everybody getting around that first turn cleanly. That's always very important. There's a lot of cars out there. There's not a lot of room to swing.
Awfully close call down the back straightaway as I believe Shaw and Hare made contact. And it looked like Kenny Hare might be going sideways down the back straightaway. He hangs on and he's up battling Lafontaine for 4th.
Moulton, Oliveri, and Worcester, 1, 2, and 3. We've got the first lap completed. Check that moon out in the sky up there in 3 and 4 looking down. Turn the lights off. There's enough light coming off of that thing. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Last I checked, full moons at the racetrack were never a good sign, but we'll see what the glow and go tanning 4 cylinders have in store.
I think it's good luck.
Early in this one, it's Moulton who's out in front over Oliveri. Those two have broken away from the rest of the pack as Hare, Lafontaine, and Worcester do battle for 3rd.
Lafontaine and Worcester battling for 3rd and 4th. In behind the first 2 automobiles, the number 10 of Moulton and the 16 of Fabio Oliveri.
Down in a 1 and 2. Top 2 on their own on an island. However, they're side by side for 3rd. Worstrow is up there trying to make a challenge to break into the top 5. He's going to slip back into the clutches of Dylan Lord. That battles for about 6th position on the racetrack.
Oliveri and Lafontaine, best battle on the racetrack. As the first 2 automobiles start to stretch it out just a little bit more. We've got 4 complete, 5 now on the counter, 10 more to go for the feature event for the 4 cylinders.
Oh, 1 car around on the backstretch. That's the Worcester 44. He does a full 360, keeps it going, and we might stay green here. I believe there was contact with the 13D of Lord, and Worcester is not going to be able to get it going, and we will go under caution.
Yellow on the speedway. The Worcester number 4, or 44, not able to keep that machine going, and that will necessitate the first caution of the feature event. But Moulton and Oliveri not being seriously challenged at this point, Jonathan, but we've still got a lot of racing left in this one. Looking for green to unleash, and we'll turn them loose once again. 5 laps gone, 10 more to go.
Moulton away with the jump, down into 1 and 2. They're 3 wide for 2nd as Lafontaine looks to the inside of Oliveri. Hare is there as well. Tight racing for 2nd place. Austin Worstrow and Shaw there as well as here comes some of that pack racing I've been talking about, ET. Down the front straightaway, Moulton with the lead.
Moulton with the lead. Heading into turn number 1, but look at this pack with 4 cylinders in behind. You could pass a piece of paper between the doors of these guys. Tight pack racing back there as you just mentioned. And the number 10 of Jay Moulton. 9 laps to go in the feature event for the 4 cylinders. Coming out of 4, and it's still the number 10 of Jay Moulton.
Moulton, Oliveri, Lafontaine, Hare. They start to get a little bit more single file at the front of this field, but Austin Worstrow's working over the 12 junior of Kelly as Dylan Lord washes up wide, and that's going to allow Obey, DeBoer, Shaw, and Rothwell all to slip by as the 13D drops about 5 spots in that 1 corner.
So far, everything in control and rather easy for the 10 of Moulton. Oliveri's got lots of company back there in 2nd place. The 96 of Tyler Lafontaine making it pretty hot for that position. They're going to go side by side for you in turn 3 and 4. We've got 8 laps on the counter, soon to click off another one, getting closer to the conclusion of this thing.
Hare, Worstrow, and Kelly all working there as well as Lafontaine tries to find a way clear of that Oliveri machine. Tyler Lafontaine, he took a heat win earlier in the evening tonight. He looks strong the last couple weeks, and he's looking to get back to victory lane. Here comes Kenny Hare on the inside of the 16, and looks like Kelly's trying to follow through on that inside line as well.
Kenny Hare's got those fancy lights underneath that machine. He's pretty easy to spot out there, but it's like a different area code for the number 10 of Jay Moulton, who has this thing firmly within his grasp as Hare now tries to take second place away from Tyler Lafontaine.
2 cars around in turn number 1. I believe that is Erskine and Kokoric who have collided. And with Kokoric parked on the inside barrier, we feel the yellow flag upon us once again.
One of the cars able to get moving, but we've got noise now. He's moving now.
Courtney Kokoric in the 3K. It looks like that car is going to be able to continue on. And the other car involved was Erskine, who I believe, coming in through 3 and 4. We'll see how much damage is on that 64 for Nick Erskine.
That's, of course, all part of the learning curve for Ms. Kokoric. We certainly watched her dad, Kevin, out here for many, many seasons at the Merrittville Speedway. And nice to see that, as we said earlier, that family tradition continuing.
Green flag back in the air, and Moulton gets a great jump as Hare looks over to the inside of Lafontaine for second.
Hare in that car with the glowing lights underneath, easy to spot. Lafontaine in the 96 grabs second place, starting to maneuver now, trying to find some room there. But they're running out of time, ladies and gentlemen. They got to get moving here if they're going to try and catch the number 10 of Jay Moulton from making this thing a runaway. He's got lots of company as they navigate out of turn 4, Jonathan.
Problem for Moulton. I saw some smoke in the middle of 3 and 4, and I believe that engine may have just expired. A little bit of fire underneath that 10 as well, and Moulton goes from hero to zero as Tyler Lafontaine will now have to work to hold off Austin Worstrow in the 71W. Here comes Anthony Kelly Jr., and Kenny Hare is there as well. 2 laps to go.
Don't know if Moulton is going to be able to remove that number 10 as the engine has woofed its cookies in that machine, and he is not going to be able to get it off the racing surface. And we're going to have to go yellow with 1 more lap to go. Some people thought he might go down the escape road off of turn 2, but I don't know whether he thought he could get it refired, but it didn't work out that way. And that necessitates another yellow with 1 more lap to go. And what a shame, because Moulton was in command of 98% of that contest.
What's that old saying in racing? The engine always runs best right before it expires.
Right before it expires,
We hope that's not the case for Moulton, and maybe it's just a quick, easy fix, and we can see him back here. Hopefully not an expensive repair for one of our 4 cylinders here in the Glow and Go Tanning Mini Stock Series. Lafontaine, Worstrow, Kelly, Hare, Oliveri, Rothwell, Shaw, Obe, Lord, and DeBoer. That is your top 10. Green flag in the air. 2 laps to settle it.
2 laps is all that remains to settle the feature event for the 4 cylinders. And we had a car go down the motor truck, and he's up against the wall up here in turn 1. It was right down in the shadows. We can't really see exactly who it is because of the glass and the angle where we're located.
I believe that is the 13D of Dylan Lord, and we're back under yellow once again here.
Wow.
Tough break as they come into the checkers, or come into the green. I'm not sure what happened to Lord, but I just saw him row in the moat and started bouncing it off the barriers here in the moat, and
hard to say, yeah.
Parked up on the high side of turn number 1.
I just saw some sparks go by just underneath the window as he went down along the wall in the moat here. Could have been a hung throttle, maybe, don't know. We're not going to speculate, don't know, but he made contact with the wall in a couple of places as he skipped down the front straightaway, so we'll keep our eyes on that. It wasn't a very hard hit at all, so he's, we'll just keep our eyes on that situation there. But the 96 of Tyler Lafontaine, your leader, Austin Worstrow in the 71W second.
Green flag coming soon. Lafontaine leads him in real slow, hits the score clock, hits the loud pedal. Tom Beals waves the flag, and we're back under green.
Tyler Lafontaine fans biting their fingernails. Can he hang on to this thing? He's got company. Austin Worstrow in that 71. And Hare on the 5. There's a lot of company back there. He can hear footsteps at the back door as they make their way in turns 3 and 4. Going to click off a lap here. There is the white flag. Still not decided yet. They're close together. throw a towel or a blanket or a hat on that top three.
Kenny Hare down low, Austin Worstrow up high. They're trying to find a way around Tyler LaFontaine. LaFontaine works into 3 and 4, has Worstrow to the high side. Hare sails it in. He gets alongside LaFontaine. He clips him briefly. That's going to slow Hare down, and Tyler LaFontaine will come through and take the win as they're 3 wide at the stripe for second. I want to say, I think that was Hare, Worstrow, and then I believe it was the 12 junior of Kelly who brings it home fourth, and Kyle Rothwell will round out the top 5 in this one. Coming out of the car, here comes Tyler now, a happy man with the checkered flag. Had to work for that one here tonight. Getting unbuckled, getting the helmet off. Fantastic drive from Tyler once again. Man, did they make you work for that one at the end. How many cars wanted to knock at the back door, but you held them all off? Tell us about the drive.
Yeah, you know what? I felt a lot of car bumpers on my rear, and I was just trying to hold a line and keep. I knew the bottom wasn't much traction, so I was just trying to keep them out of there.
Tyler, who do you want to thank for the big win here tonight on Nostalgia Night?
I got to thank the whole Twisted Metal crew, Rob's Transmission Auto Service, Louisa's Sweet Retreat, APC Parts, Blanchard Signs and Graphics. Got to thank Merrittville Speedway. They do an awesome job here, and congratulations to all the inductees tonight.
Tyler LaFontaine, your winner here tonight in the Glow and Go Tanning 4 cylinders. As we get ready for the Rick's Delivery RM Racing Lubricants Sportsman, let's have a look at how they start for this one. On pole will be Nathan Peaty out of Ridgeway, Ontario in the 23N. Then it's Noah Mamo in the 3N starting alongside. Dan McKay will start third in the 13M. Then it's John Babyon out of Welland, Ontario in the 62. Starting fifth, Jason Van Mill in the 1. Starting sixth, Jay Mallory in the 20. Starting 7th, Rob Knapp in the 2K. Adam Leslie will roll off 8th out of Port Colborne, Ontario in the 15. Starting 9th, Terry Smith from Niagara Falls, Ontario in the 22. Then it's Daryl Faraway in the 53. Starting 11th, Luke Carlton in the Port Colborne, Ontario, out of Port Colborne, Ontario in the 96B. Starting 12th, Justin Sharp from St. Catharines, Ontario in the 8S. Billy Bleach is in the 108, starting 13th. Then it's Brad Rouse. And in the 18R, starting 14th. Starting 15th, James Friesen, JMF in the 72, will start 15th. Starting 16th, it's Cody Mcpherson out of St. Catharines, Ontario in the 7. Starting 17th, Ryan Ferry in the 1F. Starting 18th, Brent Bigelow in the 16. Starting 19th, Curtis Friesen in the 68. Starting 20th, it's David Flanagan in the 74. Starting 21st, Dave Mamo in the 3 Mamo. Starting 22nd, that's Cameron Lane in the 24C. Starting 23rd, Brandon Gruel out of St. Catharines, Ontario in the 35G. And rounding out the field of 24 cars, that's Caleb Taylor in the 77C.
24 of the finest sportsman modified automobiles you're going to see anywhere. And they get turned loose for 25 laps of combat here on Nostalgia Night at Merrittville Speedway. Look at them fighting for space back in the guts of the field. But out front, Nathan Peaty in the 23N will click underneath the starter stand for lap number 1, Jonathan.
At one point, they were 4 wide working into Merrittville turn 4, and they might try to do it again through 1 and 2. Leslie, Mallory, Knapp, and Van Mill all battling tight, and oh, here comes Van Mill. He's going to get a piece of Carlton, and he'll hit hard impact for the 1 of Van Mill. Yellow flag out, tough hit for the 1 of Van Mill. That was all caused by 4 wide racing.
Van Mill started to really wiggle back there just about the middle portion of the back straightaway, Jonathan, and you watched that orange and black car start to dance around, getting off axis, getting worse, and eventually went in and put the back end just where you see that tire just on the approach to turn number 3 where you see the CAA wrecker over there. 24 more to do. Let's see what happens as the green flag will drop. And into turn number 1 they go. Peaty, Mamo, and McKay, 1, 2, and 3 down the backstretch, Jonathan.
Top 2 were side by side. Mamo's going to drop back off the side of Peaty. Mallory, he's up there looking for the lead. And Rob Knapp with some more aggressive maneuvers. He's going to get to the inside of McKay, and they're 3 wide down the front stretch into 1. We'll see how that works out for them. Top 4 all under a blanket as one car goes up wide. That's Baby On. And we'll continue down into 3 and 4.
Lots of heavy contact, as you're saying, running 3 wide in multiple rows back there. Hair-raising stuff as we've got 3 clicked off on the counter. And it's still Petey, Mallory, and Mamo, your top 3 runners.
Petey and Mallory, they exchange the lead. Mallory in the 20 goes to the point. Here comes Knapp with some hard contact, maybe to the inside of Mamo as they battle door to door for third. Knapp trying to take the place. Carlton, after being involved in that early incident. Oh, one car, that's Begala with a big hit with Fairway, and that is going to bring out the yellow as more cars, more carnage down the front stretch. Multiple cars involved as I see the Ferry and Friesen machines into the pits.
Held my breath there, Jonathan, because I thought as you start to climb wheels, things can get airborne in a hurry. Luckily enough, both automobiles settled down right away, and that brings out the yellow, and everything appears to be okay in terms of, well, nothing serious happened there, but whenever you see these cars start to climb wheels, it tends to, you gulp a little bit whenever that happens. But luckily enough, everything is okay in terms of gravity doing its job.
Just overhearing some radio chatter, Rob Knapp in the 2K, who has been arguing for that third spot as the field was told to double up. He went directly to the inside of the 3 Mamo, and he is not supposed to be there. He is supposed to be in 4th, and he's still protesting that position and has received a warning. So Rob Knapp. Yep, Knapp is going to hold things up here. Rob Knapp in the 2K refused to get in line, and now he's going to have to remove himself from the racetrack or he will no longer be scored. Brad Rouse, looks like Rouse is going to take things into his own hands as he wants to get going. He's going to send a little message to Knapp. Still waiting for Knapp to settle things out. Brad Rouse has been warned for his trying to deliver the message to the 2K. Mallory and Petey will lead him back to green. Green flag in the air, and Mallory with a great jump. Knapp trying to make up for a little bit of that contact earlier on, and we're trying to make up for the warnings he's received from the towers. They're 3 wide for 4th now with Mamo, Carlton, and Leslie battling.
Leslie on the top, Carlton on the bottom. That is heavy traffic back there. Mallory takes off, Knapp in pursuit as they head into 1. We've got 5 on the counter, total of 25 incomplete. Leslie on that high side, almost going 3 wide again. Heavy duty battle back there for 4th, 5th, and 6th. But it's still Mallory in the 20, Knapp running 2nd.
Here comes Friesen up on the high side. He's challenging with Billy Bleach Jr. I believe one car, oh, that's John Babion has lost the left front.
Yep.
John Babion in the 62. He's going to bring it to a stop in turn 2, and we're back under yellow once again.
So unfortunate. Babion in the unfortunate position of trying to tricycle one of these sportsmen. It never usually works, really.
I've seen some cars carry that left front down the
but not
front
like
stretch,
that.
but not enough to keep that thing running.
Not like that, no.
Mallory will lead him to green alongside of Knapp. Slow restart. Mallory, textbook. He gets away with it. Carlton, Knapp, Bleach, Friesen, and Mcpherson file in behind him.
Knapp on that high side got his dander up. Bleach in between along with Carlton, almost 3 wide in 3 and 4. Mallory's got a lot of warfare going on behind him as we click off another one for a total of 25.
Billy Bleach Jr. in the 108 has come to life in this one. He's trying to hang on to 2nd in the Mike Knapp Ford over Rob Knapp in the 2K, who works to the inside. Then Luke Carlton and Friesen do battle for 4th. All this happening behind our leader, Jay Mallory, as he's now challenged for the lead by Bleach.
Carlton and McPherson did a little do-si-do down on the bottom on the approach to 1, but they were able to continue on. Mallory's now got some company on the outside with the Bleach 108. Here they come for you out of 4. Almost side by side they are across the line.
Down in a 1 and 2. Billy Bleach trying to find a way around on the outside. He's hanging tough. Jay Mallory down on the inside. He trails by a half car length. They work into 3 and 4. Draw even once again. Rob Knapp lurking there, and here comes Cody Mcpherson in the 7, but Bleach is clear to the lead.
Great battling with these sportsman machines. Mallory fighting back on the bottom. You're not going to have it that easy. He says Bleach out in front by not by much in 3 and 4. We're 10 laps on the counter. Total of 25. Feature event for the sportsman. Bleach out in front, cuts down in front of Mallory to head into turn 1.
Mallory trying to get back going on the inside line. Can't get to the inside of the 108. And here comes McPherson to try to challenge for second. Who's going to move up off the bottom? Mallory shuts the door on McPherson. Knapp is way upstairs, and here comes Brad Rouse as well. They're battling for about 6th position, but up at the front, it's all Billy Bleach.
Knapp tried the high side, didn't work, tries to drop it down. He wants to try and get up into that top 3 if he can. It's Bleach, it's McPherson. Mallory on the bottom, and Luke Carlton's going to try the high side if he can move up to that top 3. He and Mallory battle. We're halfway through the feature event for the sportsman, Jonathan.
Don't look now. Here comes Cody Mcpherson. He's won a feature race this year. Luke Carlton, he's trying to get up there, and he's trying to mix things up as well. Billy Bleach Jr. trying to win back-to-back after winning his first feature just last week.
Bleach continues to show the way. McPherson in that number 7, hanging on top for second. A distant third for Luke Carlton. Mallory starting to fade back a little bit after leading a lion's share of the first quarter, at least, or half of this feature event. Clicking off another one. We're getting down towards the final few pages of the feature event for the sportsman.
Don't look now. Another one starting to make his way up. Starting to come on hot and strong. It's the JMF James Michael Friesen Bob County Hamilton machine. He's all over the backside of Carlton as McPherson is all over the backside of Bleach for the lead.
Track is starting to blacken up and rubber up quite noticeably now as Bleach continues to show the way, but it's not going to be easy. He's got McPherson right there, this car on display on Nostalgia Night behind the grandstands. Maybe he can park it in victory lane, but Bleach is going to have other ideas. Continues to lead the way, 17 laps on the counter.
Cody McPherson, he's committed to the bottom side, and Billy Bleach is committed to blocking it. Luke Carlton starting to make some gains on the high side now as McPherson drops off the tail of the 108. Top 4 trying to drive away from the field, and this one is Mallory and Rouse battle for the final spot in the top 5.
James Michael Friesen trying to gain some ground there. He's trying the high side, kicks a little rooster tail, a dust up as he tries to make his way a little further forward. Bleach now trying to pick his way through some slower lapped automobiles, got slowed down there. Could McPherson take advantage? Not quite, but they were close together. They were clicking Nerf bars there in that exchange.
Dave Mamo was trying to fight for one of the last back spots of the field with the 24C, and then Bleach tried to send it in 3 wide, and that erased any gap that he was starting to build as they're 3 wide behind them trying to clear the Mamo lap car. McPherson all over the backside of Bleach. Bleach down into 3 and 4. Lap cars starting to play a factor in this one.
Handful of 5 to go. Bleach in the 108, but he's still got McPherson there as company. Starting to distance out, and another lapped automobile going to stay down low, we think. Will he go up to the middle? Not exactly sure where Bleach can go to find a gap. He tries it down low. Is he going to try it around the outside? He will, but McPherson's right there with him as they swing your partner down the back straightaway.
Side by side for the lead, it's Bleach and McPherson. Fairway jammed up Billy Bleach. He's trying to fight back on the inside, and no, he's going to drop the lead. McPherson to the lead on the outside, and the Willard Concrete and Trucking number 7, Lucky 7, is to the lead.
Wow, 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 what an exchange that was. McPherson down towards the bottom of this thing. Bleach second, James Michael Friesen hanging top for third, but it's a distant third. He's got company from Carlton. That one isn't over yet as we're winding down to the bottom here. Jonathan Howe, bring him home.
White flag lap, McPherson. Sometimes you're good and sometimes you're lucky. Tonight he's both. He's gapped the 108 of Bleach, and he's coming to the checkers. One car around on the backstretch, a couple cars making contact, but the checkers are out, and Cody Mcpherson takes the win over Billy Bleach Jr., James Michael Friesen, Luke Carlton, and Brad Rouse will end up in the top 5 spot.
Wow.
Fantastic racing from the sportsman, especially once we got going green. Billy Bleach Jr. will be kicking himself about how he handled that lap traffic, while Cody Mcpherson will count his blessings and enjoy a hard-fought victory. And we'll catch up with him on the front stretch in just a little bit. In what was a wild, wild event, I'm looking at a remarkably clean number 7 for Cody Mcpherson. He's still getting unbuckled here. Fought hard for this one. Tight battle with Billy Bleach Jr. Cody Mcpherson, winner once again in the Rick's Delivery Sportsman. Tell us about a hard-fought battle with Billy Bleach Jr.
Yeah, you know, Bleach was really good. They're really good. He was better than me in 1 and 2. I think I was a little better in 3 and 4, but I don't think I had enough. But when I seen the lap car there, I knew I had to get to the top before he got there, and then just hoped I cleared it when I came back to the bottom.
Great job. Who do you want to thank? Actually, before you get to the thanks, I saw this beautiful Willard Concrete and Trucking Lucky 7 parked out behind the grandstands a little earlier in the day. I was going to catch up with you, but I didn't. So maybe it was like a reverse announcer jinx because I didn't give you an interview a little earlier. But who do you want to thank for this win?
I really got to thank my Aunt Tam, Willard Concrete and Trucking, PVM Hydraulics, DVC Contracting, Beaverlock Farms, Rick's Delivery, Summertime Spray Foam, Grandma McPherson. I got to thank Titan Crane, Window Works.
He's a guy with longish gray hair.
I got so many people that help me out because, you know, this isn't a cheap sport, and we couldn't do it without them. And this guy right here, Brandon, he gives up every weekend night and a couple weeknights throughout the week as well, and I couldn't do it without him.
Cody Mcpherson back in victory lane here at Merrittville Speedway, and we will get ready to go for our feature event very soon. All the Merrittville Speedway fans, we appreciate each and every one of you coming out. Without you guys, there is no show, believe me. I called a couple empty grandstand races last year here, and it just wasn't the same.
No, it's not. It's not the same. Okay.
And here come the S&W Service Center 358 Modifieds making their way down the front stretch ahead of the Jerry Winger Memorial 50-lap event. So cool to see Don Spee's ride down there, track owner. Any car with flames, I think, is cool in my books, but that might be my Jeff Gordon fandom as a kid.
First modified out here with chrome headers, too. That's another piece of Ivan Little lore at this joint.
And there's the 88 of Bill Spees.
Gremlin sheet metal that brought us from the coupe era into a little more aerodynamic era, and that's a perfect example of it right there.
As the cars come down, here's how they will line up for the 50-lap main event. Fast, Freddie Carlton on pole in the 96 Bonesmobile ride. Then it's Gary Lindbergh out of St. Catharines, Ontario in the 37S. Starting third will be Matt Williamson from St. Catharines, Ontario in the 6. Starting fourth, Trevor Wright from Beamsville, Ontario in the 09. Starting fifth, Ryan Susi out of Ransomville, New York in the 38 RS. Starting sixth, Darren Peters out of Fort Erie, Ontario in the 1P. Starting seventh, Dylan Davidson from St. Catharines, Ontario in the 73. Mike Bowman, a former winner of this event out of St. Catharines, Ontario, will start 8th. Starting 9th, Mr. Small Block, our CAA Wall of Fame inductee, Pete Bicknell in the 42. Mr. Small Block starting 9th. Starting 10th, Derek Van Mill out of Welland, Ontario in the 2 Cool. Then it's Tyler Willard starting 11th out of St. Catharines, Ontario in the 777. Starting 12th will be Todd Gordon in the 28. Starting 13th, Scott Wood from Thorold, Ontario in the 38. Starting 14th, Austin Wood in the 1XP. Starting 15th, Chad Chevalier from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 12. Starting 16th, Shane Pierce out of Waynfleet, Ontario in the 88. Starting 17th, Boyd McTavish in the 41. Starting 18th, Tom Neal In the 2X from St. Catharines, Ontario, starting 19th will be Tanner Podwinski out of Waynfleet, Ontario in the 72. And shotgun on the field will be Glenn Stiers out of Ohsweken, Ontario in the 0.
Full complement of 358 modifieds. Nothing like that when they're that close to you, huh?
Race fans, we want you on your feet. We're going to get a countdown, and you guys will give the command to start your engines in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drivers, start your engines! Rick was very adamant about this part.
Did you see it in the review in that email?
Yeah, I saw it in the email. I'm still getting funny about all the stuff that is missing. I'm like, part of the show.
I tried to like that last one.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Doing the best we
drivers,
can.
go ahead, finish.
There was guys that he said were going to be here that didn't show up. I think it's been a great night so far, so. Car in the front.
Ain't that a nice rumble? Right at your knees. Ain't that cool? Show is.
I feel the vibrations up here in the booth. I'm sure throughout
Oh,
the
yeah.
entire grandstand.
My Pepsi's dancing on the countertop here.
A fresh, cold Pepsi. Appreciate everybody who's made a trip out to the concession stands tonight and supported the racetrack.
Jonathan, it's going to be interesting. I was mentioning during that Sportsman feature that the track is really rubbering up and blackening up, which of course is going to affect the grip out here and the 358 modifieds. And we've seen the big blocks come here and overpower the racetrack. So no doubt that's going to be in the drivers' minds, and tires cooling off after yellows. All that is going to start to come into play as we work our way through 50 laps of combat here for the 358 modifieds on a track that is getting pretty shiny, pretty black, and that means there's not a lot of grip out there, so you're going to have to tiptoe through the tulips out here to find the best running line.
We're getting ready to go racing, but we had one extra vintage car taking some hot laps. That 88 of Bill Speece, the old Bill Speece ride.
I think he wanted to run in the feature here.
You know, they were pretty sporty earlier in the night. I wouldn't put it past them, the vintage cars.
Those guys were good. I enjoyed those guys. I enjoyed that. The nostalgia modifieds, it was excellent. That was good. Maybe I have to get them back here. I never know. Fred, graduate of that school, radio and TV many years ago, in the early 70s, and was announcing here at the time. So it all seems to interconnect, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Lights out on the U-Pick Auto Parts SLM Recycling Pace Car. Here come the S&W Service Center 358 modifieds to green. It's Carlton and Lindbergh. Green flag in the air on the Jerry Winger Memorial. Maybe a problem for Fast Freddy Carlton as he slows, and that stacks up the field. Cars running all over as the 96 of Carlton just did not get going, and we might have an early caution in this one.
Fast Freddy goes dead stick in the middle of the back straightaway. Something happened to our pole sitter right away as soon as he hit the hammer to take off. The car did not respond. Now he may have it in gear. It may have popped out of gear. I don't know. But he seems to be underway now, but the yellow comes out. One lap on the counter, 49 left to go in the Jerry Winger Memorial. What a shame for Fast Freddy. We just talked about his feature win not that long ago. 49 laps left to go. We've just scratched the surface of this thing. Jonathan Howe, bring him to the green, will you?
Lindbergh and Williamson hit the loud pedal, and it's Lindbergh away with it. Top two cars fired out of a cannon as Williamson crosses over to the bottom side, and he'll look to work over Lindbergh down the back straightaway. Into 3 and 4, it's Williamson and Lindbergh. Williamson down low. Lindbergh already testing the top side in this one. They're side by side at the Tim Hortons finish line.
Kicking each other in the shins as they go down through turns 2 and down the back straightaway. Matt Williamson ahead by a nose. Lindbergh fighting back on the high side as they're in 3 and 4. Pointed straight. Head west, gentlemen, and click off another one.
Lindbergh to the lead. He clears Williamson. Williamson trying to fight back. Trevor Wright in the 09 hanging tough as we got 2 cars around on the high side of 3 and 4. I believe that is the Too Cool and the 72 of Podwinski. We'll check that. Podwinski I know for sure is around, and I believe that is the Too Cool of Van Mill involved, as well as the field tries to negotiate that situation up on the high side of 3 and 4.
Not sure if it was contact, but we did talk about a slick racetrack before this one started.
A little early on that one, Lindbergh. We'll see if that gets called back by our starter. Lindbergh out to it early. Williamson, right. Wood and Bicknell. Looks like we're going to stay. Nope, that call from the tower comes. Gary Lindbergh jumped the restart on that one, and we're back under yellow.
Got to do it legal beagles. Got to be fair and square, and that one was not. So they're going to sort of call that back. The counter will freeze. I think they're in the back, so they're going to let it go.
Lindbergh away with the jump in that one as the field was still a little sideways as more cars come into contact down the front stretch. But we'll turn our attention back to the front. Everybody stays clean and green so far. Lindbergh and Williamson once again doing battle here. Lindbergh up top, Williamson trying to make the bottom side work in the S&W Service Center number 6.
Austin Wood in that 1X. Keep your eyes on that automobile. He is letting it all hang out up high on the outside. He wants part of that duo up front. Bicknell down low in the 42. And the other automobiles following through as well. Darren Peters in that 1P trying to mix it up, but keep your eyes on that Wood 1X. He's dropped back a little as Bicknell is closing.
Lindbergh out front. Williamson. Then they're 3 wide. Briefly for a second as here comes Mr. Smallblock. He gets Trevor Wright down the front stretch. He sets his sights on Darren Peters in the 1P. Down in the back, Bowman mixing it up with Austin Wood in the 1XP and Chad Chevalier down the back straightaway. But the top 2 are broken away and they're trying to settle it amongst themselves, but we got a long way to go.
Bicknell and young Austin Wood doing battle here for 3rd and 4th. The young man on the top, the wily veteran 24-time track champion, Pete Bicknell on the bottom. That's what you pays your money to comes to see. Darren Peters in the 1X. Inexperienced.
1P and 1XP, they're almost identical cars, so it's easy to confuse Peters and Wood, but Pete Bicknell is through to 3rd. Mr. Smallblock, he finds himself on the Wall of Fame tonight, and he's trying to find himself in victory lane, while Lindbergh and Williamson continue to do battle as Williamson's going to take the lead down the back straightaway.
This is a bare knuckles brawl for the lead. Williamson's got control of it now as he's coming up on the back end of this pack. He's going to have to start tiptoeing around some back markers in a hurry. But you got Matt Williamson leading in the 6th, Lindbergh right on his tail, and they know they've got slower cars up front they're going to have to deal with here in the next couple of seconds. 10 laps on the counter, 40 more to go in the Jerry Winger Memorial.
Here comes Matt Williamson, your leader, starting to stretch things out over Lindbergh. Pete Bicknell hanging tough in 3rd. He's trying to keep pace with the top 2 as Peters is 4th, and Wright and Willard battle for 3rd as a whole gaggle of cars battle for that 5th position,
Into these back markers that we just talked about. Here's Matt Williamson, your leader right there. There's Gary Lindbergh across the stripe right now in 2nd place, and Bicknell trying to move up. He's in 3rd place, but wants part of that deal up front. It is getting slick, it's getting shiny, it's getting blacker by the lap out here. Not a lot of grip just about anywhere, high to the bottom of the racetrack.
Matt Williamson is dialed in tonight. He has found a whole bunch of speed down low, and he is driving away on a Saturday night cruise early in this one. He now works over the 73 of Dylan Davidson on the high side of 4. Williamson putting that 6 car wherever he needs to negotiate lap traffic.
A powerhouse in the big black modified Mr. Dirt circuit as well, downstate. Certainly very familiar to fans in this neck of the woods. He's got himself a nice collection of features both here and at Ransomville. And Matt Williamson showing the way. Gary Lindbergh across the stripe right there in second. And Pete Bicknell hanging tough for third. Then Darren Peters in the 1P. Connor Willard in the 777. That's your top five. We're 15 laps in, Jonathan.
Williamson still pacing the field in this one, but Gary Lindbergh has company as Pete Bicknell has closed in on the back of that 37 for second. Dylan Davidson, the lap car downstairs. Battle is on for second. Lindbergh up top. Bicknell running about a lane lower, trying to find a way around the 37S of Lindbergh. Through 3 and 4, they're side by side with Davidson down low. Bicknell not going to be able to do it this time. Still in contention for that second spot.
Still Matt Williamson, and we're at the point where we're 33 laps in. Williamson, Lindbergh, and Bicknell, 1, 2, and 3 as they're tiptoeing around. There's your leader across the stripe right there.
Gary Lindbergh starting to stretch things back out from Pete Bicknell. Lindbergh trying to find speed down low. Usually he's the first one up top, and usually he finds something. Tonight, not the case, as Williamson has gone upstairs, and he is on a mission to capture another Jerry Winger Memorial.
Matt Williamson, the S&W Service Center, number 6. That's, of course, Bicknell Machinery. Got a few more back markers back here to tiptoe around if he can. Williamson, Lindbergh, and Bicknell 1, 2, and 3, and it's been that way for the last big handful of laps.
Williamson negotiating lap traffic. He gets by the 88 of Pierce. Now has to deal with Susie in front of him as well. Trying to find a way around on the outside. Does so. Great job negotiating this lap traffic as we work lap 20 now, lap 21 in a 50-lap event.
Williamson's in a different area code, let me tell you. Winging it around the outside, now into some more lap traffic. But he's got himself a nice cushion over the Lindbergh 37, then Bicknell a distant third. So Matt Williamson can pick his places. There's a nice battle. Oh, Pete Bicknell got down into some rough stuff along the front straightaway there, and the car made a little hesitation, but he's okay at this point, and he'll hang on to third place with 22 laps in. Jonathan.
Lindbergh back upstairs. Bicknell down low. They battle for second, but that's all they can do at this point. Matt Williamson starting to stretch things out even further. Not quite at a half straightaway, maybe this time. Yep, that's about
I would say so, yeah, exactly.
Matt Williamson looking strong once again, but anything can change. Speaking of changes, we got a change for second. Pete Bicknell through. Mr. Smallblock is through to second as he gets by Gary Lindbergh.
He took his time, and that's the reason why he's won 24 championships at this oval. He picked his time to do it right, and he got around Lindbergh to grab the runner-up spot. 24 coming up to halfway through. There are the cross flags from Tom Peels. Halfway through the Jerry Winger Memorial. 25 gone, 25 left to do.
25 laps to go. Couple cars dueling down the front straightaway as Mike Bowman's trying to negotiate some lap traffic.
He's still getting bumped by Davidson there.
Him and Davidson shut the door on Bowman, who's running in the 5th position. Not necessarily out of it if we get a caution, but he needs to keep it clean as he negotiates lap traffic. Here we see our leader now, Matt Williamson, up on the high side of 3 and 4 and coming down to click off another lap.
The car heeled over to the right. You can see the way it leans, but that thing is hooked up. He can run it high, he can run it low, he can run it in the middle, and it sticks like flypaper no matter where he puts it. Bicknell running second. Lindbergh is third. Darren Peters is fourth. Mike Bowman back in battling there, hanging on to the 5th spot. Last week's feature winner.
Bowman could be strong late in this one. Peters as well, putting on a good showing, but they are chasing our top 3 and our top 2, still trying to reel in Matt Williamson. Matt is pretty much checked out.
Big sideways in turn.
That was the 09 of Wright that had a big moment through 1 and 2.
He just about got sideways, but he caught it and kept on going. I thought he was going around for sure.
And now the 09 of Wright is in front of our leader, of Williamson. He's got a whole gaggle of cars here, and he wants the bottom side, but lap cars battling for position right in front of him. This could allow Bicknell to start to close in.
Move over flag being used proficiently here as Williamson, our leader, is coming up on some more slower traffic. He's got it down low, navigates it through 1. Williamson, Bicknell, Lindbergh, 1, 2, and 3. Lap 31 out of a total of 50, the Jerry Winger Memorial. And so far, Jonathan, how it's been the Matt Williamson show.
E.T., this has been a phenomenal drive from Matt Williamson. He always shows up for the biggest events. He always wants to capture the biggest trophies, and he is putting on a great performance once again as he works down the back straightaway. He's negotiating lap traffic with plenty of patience. Bicknell trying to keep pace. He's about a half straightaway behind, but closing in ever so slightly.
Williamson, Bicknell, Lindbergh, Peters, Bowman continue as your top 5. There's 33 on the counter. The total, of course, is 50. Jerry Winger Memorial, and you're seeing a clinic by the number 6 of mighty Matt Williamson across the stripe right there in the S&W Service Center, number 6.
Williamson has to negotiate Scott Wood and Trevor Wright in front of him. They're still dueling for position. I believe that's for, honestly, I think about 10th place on the racetrack.
I think so.
Williamson has just lapped almost everybody in this field.
Pretty much.
Picking them up and putting them down, but now has to hang tough and be patient as Wright and Wood continue to do battle in front.
Dominant performance by Matt Williamson, not putting a foot wrong at all as we're getting down now towards the last quarter of this thing. And it's Matt Williamson, Pete Bicknell, Gary Lindbergh, Peters, Bowman, still your top 5. There isn't been a change in that order for the last 10-15 laps.
The thing that is changing, Matt Williamson's lead. Those lap cars definitely affecting him as now he's able to get around Wood, but Pete Bicknell can now see the 6 of Matt Williamson. Those two tangled a few weeks ago late in a feature here in the modifieds. Williamson took out Bicknell. A little bit of controversy as they might be considered business partners, but now they might be shaping up to settle this one when we get to lap number 50.
38 on the board. You mentioned 50 lap total so far. It has been a barn burner for the Jerry Winger Memorial. If you want to use a cliche, I'm allowed to use one every race night. Matt Williamson out of 4. Here's your leader right now, over the stripe to click off another one.
Pete Bicknell trying to keep pace. He closes in. I would say that gap's at about 5 car lengths.
Probably.
Down the back straightaway, Williamson trying to stretch things back out. Bicknell trying to get around the lap car of Wood. Wood not cutting him any slack. Forces him way down low, but Matt Williamson has to deal with the 72 of Podwinski, and he's going to try to split the middle as he goes to the middle of Wright and Podwinski.
You gotta think Bicknell is hoping for a yellow of something to try and slow it down and give him a chance to get up in behind Matt Williamson. Maybe the cooler tires would give Pete a chance, but right now, not putting anything wrong in terms of his attack. Matt Williamson showing the way just about from the start. As we get into lap number 41, your leader coming out of turn number 4 on the high side, clicks off another one. We're at lap 42. We've only got 8 more to go for the conclusion of the Jerry Winger Memorial. As we said before, it's been all Matt Williamson.
Williamson, his best friend right now is the clear racetrack that he has in front of him. He has a few car lengths to reel in heavy Chevy Chad Chevalier, while Bicknell is trying to work around Trevor Wright, right in the 09. In front of our second place contestant, Lindbergh still hanging tough in 3rd, and then we've got Bowman up to 4th, who's gotten by Peters, and Austin Wood now in the 1XP is broken into the top 5, but up at the front, Matt Williamson starting to stretch things back out. He leads by more than a couple car lengths. I'd call it half a straightaway as they work down the backstretch.
He's turning lap times in the 17.463, his best lap. And you know what? That's getting around this place pretty darn good. Even in traffic, even on a slick racetrack, and it's hot out there, but man, that car is sticking perfectly.
5 laps to go is the sign at the finish line, thanks to our flagman, Tom Beals. Watching our leader now, 4 laps to go. Great run from Williamson. He has been dominant. He found a way by Lindbergh early, and now he's trying to check out and close out a fantastic race.
Working, I believe, on feature win number 3 for the season. We'll check that officially for you, but I believe that's the total. He's had a couple so far. Could he make it number 3? So far, it's been a clinic for the number 6 and Mighty Matt. Trying to add to that total. He's across the stripe. We're getting down to the last 3 pages of this feature event.
Matt Matt Williamson starting to encounter some of that lap traffic again. This one is far from over. Anything can happen, but he's just trying to be patient, be smooth like he's been for the last 48 laps. White flag in the air. One more time around for Matt Williamson.
Dominant performances sometimes happen in this game, and you saw one tonight as the number 6 is in 3 and 4 to bring him home. The announcer at Merrittville Speedway, Jonathan Howe, bringing in.
Matt Williamson once again finds himself the winner of the Jerry Winger Memorial here at Merrittville Speedway over CAA Wall of Fame inductee Pete McNell, Gary Lindbergh. Finishing 4th will be Mike Bowman, and Austin Wood will round out your top 5. The Jerry Winger Memorial goes to Matt Williamson once again.
And we believe that is feature win number 3 on the season for Mighty Matt. That car was, well, on a rail. You all the cliches you want now. He was just not going to be headed. Bicknell was on the whip almost the entire 50 laps, just could not get a yellow or anything to come out to try and bring the field back closer together, and it just didn't work out. But under green flag conditions, you just weren't going to catch the number 6 tonight, were you?
No, Matt Williamson with another dominant performance once again. Catching up with our winner once again. Matt Williamson captures another checkered flag. Fantastic drive, looking over the tires. Matt, back in victory lane and back in one of our biggest races here, the Jerry Winger Memorial. Tell us about the drive and tell us about what it means to you to win this event again.
Yeah, it's obviously a ton of history at this racetrack, and I didn't know Jerry personally, obviously, but you know, to do a race this many years and honor him is pretty cool. He must have been a pretty stellar guy, so got to give the hats off to him. One of our crew guys' wives was hurt this week in a car accident, so we're thinking of her at home, and you know, just happy to be back to victory lane here.
Who do you want to thank for the drive tonight, Matt?
You know, everybody that sticks by me. A few arguments in the shop every week when we're running bad, and we just keep our heads down and keep working, and fortunately we got it back to victory lane here.
Great job, Matt Williamson back in victory lane. The winner of the Jerry Winger Memorial here tonight at Merrittville, surviving 50 laps and holding off Pete McNell to capture the checkers. Thank you to all the race fans who made it out tonight to CAA Nostalgia Night. Thanks to Auto Effects as well, jumping on, sponsoring the event. We appreciate everybody as well from the Merrittville Memories community. Thank you, race fans. Without you, we would not have 70 years of history. On behalf of Eric Thomas, Don and Lorraine Spees, I'm Jonathan Howe. I hope your Saturday night was more than just all right, and we will see you next weekend as Bobcat of Hamilton weekly racing continues on here at Merrittville Speedway.
Happy trails, everybody. Drive safely.
Copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of GForceTV. GForceTV would like to thank you for your support and for watching today's broadcast.